I'd like to recap a little bit some funky voicings that I used on a previous video that's on my YouTube channel. I think it's called E9 Funk Guitar or something like that. So I'll just go through a bit of theory and a few voicings on how I like to approach that kind of comping, you know. So first off, I would say it's important to kind of analyze theoretically. This will be all around the E7 chord, E7 dominant chord. So E9 and E13, even sus chords. It's all the same family, the dominant 7 family. So the E7 is a dominant chord, which is always the 5 chord of a major key. So in this case, E7 would be the 5 chord of A major, the key of A major. And one thing that's super common in a funk kind of guitar, well, even keyboard comping, is to use triads from that key. So I think it's an important thing to study and to work on is basic triads, diatonic triads. So in different keys. So in this case, in the key of A, if we look just at the first 3 strings, the first group of 3 strings, and we go through the 3 different inversions of triads, we can start here on A major triad. So based off an open A chord. So we're just using the top 3 strings, A, C sharp, E. So 1, 3, 5. This is a root position. So the lowest string in my chord is the root of each triad I'll be playing. So we go up the scale. So A major, B minor, C sharp minor, D major, E major, F sharp minor, G sharp half diminished, and back to A, sorry. So that's a root position. If we do first inversion, it starts here on the lowest note is a third, the C sharp. So A major, B minor, C sharp minor, D major, E major, F sharp minor, G sharp half diminished, and back to A. If we do the last inversion, which starts on the 5th, the E note, A major, B minor, C sharp minor, we can go down an octave, D major, E major, F sharp minor, G sharp half diminished, back to A. So a lot of these voicings are really handy and practical to use in a lot of contexts. It could be on any maybe other chord of the key. Let's say we're on a B minor chord. So this is the 2 of A. So you can use the same principle. You can use a lot of different triads from the key of A on different chords that are in that key. And those that sound best are those that usually give the sound of the chord you're playing. So let's say E7. This is a basic E7, you know, open chord position. We can do a E9, or we can do an E9 with the 5th on top, which is with the barred 3rd finger. We can add the 13 to this, just the 4th finger on the C sharp here, above the E9 chord I'm playing. So it's all gravitating around that. So if we just look at this bar, well, this half barred version, if we look at these 3 notes, we have a B minor triad. So you can think of a minor triad kind of on the 5th of your E7 chord. You can think B minor, you know. And one thing I do in the video also, and it's super common, is to slide up 2 frets. So this is a C sharp minor triad, which is the 3rd degree of A, if we remember this position of triads. A major, B minor, C sharp minor. So the B minor and the C sharp minor generate notes that sound well on the E9. So this, of course, has the D, F sharp, B. So if we analyze it off an E, we have flat 7, natural 9, and 5th. If we look at these notes, which are from the C sharp minor triad, we have root of E, always analyzing it from our E chord. What degrees are these notes generating off my E chord? Root, major 3rd, and 13, the C sharp. So these are all notes that fit really well on my E chord. So then you can invert those, you know, B minor, C sharp minor, different inversion of the triads, B minor, C sharp minor triad. So all tools that really handy tools. The triads are like magic that you can that you can use on a lot of comping situations. Not only funk, but it works really well in the funk style, I find. So that being said, so if like I wrote down a few of the voicings I was using in the video kind of in chronological order. So obviously there's a lot of playing around this E9 shape. So like I said, we can break it down into different kind of string groups or smaller versions of it. So this would be like a 5-string version of it: root, major third, flat 7, 9, 5. We can add the 13, like I said. So this would be like with more extensions on it, with the 13 and the 9 here, right? So we can have 13, 9 with the 5th on top, just 9 with the 3rd on top, the 9th on top, sorry. We can eliminate strings and just use a shell voicing, which is, shell voicings are small voicings that typically use the root, 3rd, and 7th of the chord. So, and like I use a lot in comping is I just use the 3rd and 7th only. So it's even smaller, it's only 2 notes. And what I like to do also is as you can notice, is slide things around a bit, like just half step approaches from below typically, you know. If my target is this, the 3rd and 7th of E, I just approach it by a half step. So, of course, there's the whole other department of the right hand and the muting technique when we're playing funk. So that's super important and needs to be worked on also. But so a lot of releasing the tension here on the left hand to just be able to do percussive strokes, you know, with the right hand. So pressure on, off is a super important technique when playing this kind of music. So, if we break it down a little bit more in terms of less notes, something I did in the video was just play thirds, so 2 notes. So this could be looked at in a few different ways. 2 triads I forgot to mention from the key of A that are super handy. We looked at B minor and C sharp minor over the E. We can also use the E triad. This triad here. Could be any inversion. And also 1 step below my root, a D major triad. So A, D, F sharp. The A is generating a sus sound. The A is the 4th degree of E and is the sus4 of that chord. But it works super well in the context, you know, of the dominant chord. And the D is the flat 7 of E. F sharp is the 9 of E. So you can use these 4 triads in conjunction, you know, with each other. So like, let's say B minor and C sharp minor. Then just D and E. I'm changing string groups, but I'm in the same frets. Or all 4 strings. It's bigger, but you know, more strings. So, but we can go even fewer strings. So from, let's say, just from thinking of it as E major and D major, I eliminate the 5th here and just play root 3rd on strings 3 and 2. And then I'm playing root 3rd of the D chord. So that works really well. What I like to do is go chromatically between both. So that works really well also. No need to really analyze it. It's just a chromatic. It works quite well. And so if I keep going down on the same strings and want to use that kind of approach, I can do this, which is from B minor triad. I just use B and, from C sharp minor triad, I'm sorry. So C sharp and E. Go down another step to a B minor triad, B and D. Only the notes on 3rd and 2nd string. So if I want to have a descending thing, and I can put chromatic between both, both groups. Then you can mess mess with the rhythms. Of course, it demands a lot of control in terms of the muting and the strumming with the right hand. So you want to generate a pretty percussive sound by striking a few strings, but you have to isolate only so I'm muting with this hand. That's kind of this finger, sorry. Not a great sound, this inversion, but it's the same concept. So that being said, another area of the guitar which is really fun to play kind of dominant chords is thinking of this kind of approach, where you have a major triad, in this case D major, over my E root. So using that, so it's a major triad a step below your root, D major. The D generates the flat 7 of the E. F sharp is the third. A is the sus4. So you have a you have a my mistake. Sorry. D is the 7th. F sharp is the 9th, and A is the sus4. So you have a 9 sus4 using a D triad over E root. It's often seen spelled D/ over E, so, or D9 sus4. What I like to do with this is not play the root here, but play it on top. It's more fun to play, more practical and funkier sounding, and kind of nice sounding to have that high root up there. So from this grip here, there's a lot of options and nice things you can do. So we can just resolve this sus note A down a half step to G sharp to the 3rd of E. So now we have just a regular 9 chord. D flat 7, F sharp the 9th of E, G sharp the 3rd of E, and the root on top if we want. And a really common thing to do is to mess around with just this note, the sus4 resolution to 3rd, sus4 resolution to 3rd, so on. So that's a handy little voicing and grip you can use. You can also start getting into flat 9s, also, which are a bit funkier and more dissonant. But yeah, so this is. You can also play. Just keep going up thirds from this voicing and go all the way to the 13th, the C sharp. So you actually have a D major 7 over E, which is often also spelled D major 7 / E, or it's a E13 sus4 kind of, depends how you want to name it. It's also handy for improvising using these notes on a dominant chord. So sus4 with the 13 on top, C sharp. I can resolve the sus like we did before to the 3rd and keep the C sharp on top. Sorry, I'm out of tune. So that's another kind of area of voicings that are really cool that I like to use. Another one is just this basic kind of like a open D7 shape. If you want different ways to approach it, it's a drop 2 voicing. So, but in E, so 5 flat 7 3, B D G sharp. It sounds. I like to use this stuff really high, like an octave higher. So sometimes I like to just go punctuate a little, if I'm comping down here. I did that in the previous video, I think. So, you can go use that up there. A couple of other little tricks is like seeing your E7 or E minor pentatonic. So I'm using just 2 strings, B and E, then G is a sharp 9 or the flat 3rd, so it's kind of funky, and I use the C sharp here, the 13, so another another little trick. Same thing, same kind of sound here, but kind of the inverted notes, the order is different. The G is down here and the C sharp is up here. So it's kind of like a little bit of a E minor 13 based off of E minor 7 bar chord. But you have the 6th here, which becomes the 13 because we have the 7th in the voicing. Again, just using 2 strings sounds better. Or 3 maybe. So you can, based off kind of the E minor 7 bar shape, you have the 6th degree or the 13, the C sharp, that you can put up to D, 7, 13, 5, so Prince kind of stuff, whatever. Let's see, oh yeah, so I'll just break down, I did a descending thing quite rapidly in the video. I'll just break down each voicing. So we've looked at pretty much all of them already, so that's why I was keeping this till for the end. So the descending thing, I picked that up from a Tower of Power record. I'm not sure I have the voicings exactly, but it's kind of that, pretty much the same kind of top notes that he was doing. So I picked that up a long time ago. I found it really nice. So E9 like this, could be just three strings, or with the 4th string, the D here, and then a B minor triad, and then an A major triad. These are all derived from the key of A major. And then this is an inversion of this G sharp half diminished, but a lot of things kind of all relate to each other when you start to look at it a bit more closely. So if I just do a barred E7 like this, I'm doing a little parentheses of what I was just explaining, but you can break a lot of voicings down into smaller string groups, so you can just see your shape and then you can just use parts of it. So oh yeah, one thing I'm going to get to after is this actually. So you can just use these 3 strings from this voicing or the next 3 strings, which is I see it as being part of the E7, but it's also a G sharp half diminished triad. So recap that descending thing: E9, B minor, A major triad, G sharp half diminished, A triad again, major triad in a different inversion, E7, F sharp minor, which is in the key of, we haven't looked at this one, but it's in the key of A, and then a basic E chord, E major chord. So of course, it takes practice. I need practice, you know, to do them faster or more fluid. But just take your time. You know, do them cleanly, slowly. Make sure you get the muscle memory. You know, it's basically going down the scale. That's a great way to work on triads. Also, is to use melodies on the top and try to find triads that are out of the key. You'll discover a bunch of cool things, I think, working like that. So another little thing I did in the video was based off this, going back to this voicing. So this just using 5, 7, 3, B, D, G sharp of the A. You can just use a sus and then back down. And I think I was only using even less strings, only 7 and 4, 7 and 3, like the degrees. So D and A, D and G sharp. So you see, all the stuff I used there, I just explained it all in this video. So yeah, sometimes it's just breaking down a few things. Oh, I forgot another one that's nice. Based off this voicing, basic E7 voicing. You can just, it's a drop 2 thing also, just invert it. So you take the 3rd, 7th, and root of this voicing, and remove the root here, keep these, and go play the 5th on top. So a really nice voicing I like to use is not even play this 4th string, but just the top 3 strings of this. It gives you D, E, B, 7, 1, 5 of an E. So there you go. I hope you enjoy it. Have fun funking around.